A former president lands in Mekelle without the kind of long public build-up that usually surrounds diplomacy. No grand announcement, no certainty of a breakthrough. Just a sudden visit at a moment when the silence between Ethiopia's federal government and Tigray's leadership was beginning to sound louder than words.
And that is what makes Olusegun Obasanjo's trip so important. It was not simply a courtesy call. Tigray's administration described it as an effort to calm a rising political and security tension.
But the real question is this: why did a peace process that was supposed to reduce fear still need an emergency-style intervention? To understand that, we have to go back to the agreement that was meant to close one chapter of conflict, the Pretoria Agreement.
The TPLF chairman, Dr. Debretsion Gebremichael, reportedly told Obasanjo that the agreement has not been followed with meaningful monitoring or enforcement. In other words, the complaint is not only that promises were made, it is that there is no trusted mechanism powerful enough to make those promises feel real on the ground.
And then the story gets more fragile. Tigray authorities have pointed to clashes near the Sudan border, around a place referred to as Shararina, and to alleged drone attacks at different times. The federal government, according to the account provided, has not publicly given a clear response on those specific claims.
But there is another side of the tension too. From the federal side, there may be concern over political moves linked to the TPLF, including talk of a group called Simdu and public positions suggesting pressure against the federal government. So both sides are reading the other side's actions as a warning sign.
That is the dangerous part. In a fragile peace, even an unexplained movement, an unanswered accusation, or a political slogan can become evidence in someone else's fear. And once fear becomes the main interpreter, every delay looks deliberate.
Tigray's administration has now laid out what it says must happen before meaningful talks can move forward. The demands include ending military pressure, lifting economic restrictions, restoring the authority of Tigray's administration, allowing displaced people to return safely and with dignity, and restoring the legal status of the TPLF.
They also want any future talks to be time-bound and to involve international actors with enough influence to create pressure. That detail matters. It suggests Tigray's leadership does not only want dialogue, it wants guarantees that dialogue will not become another waiting room.
So, Obasanjo's visit becomes more than a meeting. It becomes a test. Can an outside mediator turn accusations into a structured process before the mistrust hardens again?
The expectation is that after speaking with the federal government, Obasanjo may return to Tigray within 1 or 2 weeks. That short window carries a lot of weight. If he returns with something concrete, it could reopen a path. If he returns with only more language and no mechanism, the same questions will remain.
And behind every political statement are ordinary people waiting for the one result that matters most: safety. The return of displaced families, the reopening of livelihoods, the feeling that tomorrow will not be decided by another breakdown.
So the image we are left with is simple. A mediator arrives suddenly, not because peace is secure, but because it is still unfinished. The real story now is not whether leaders can meet, it is whether they can build enough trust for their promises to survive after the meeting ends.